What's up, family? Listen here. I'm going to talk to you about how a Louis Vuitton purse was the reason why I started to invest in the market. One day, I was about to drop a few $1,000s. I think it was around $4,000 on a Louis Vuitton purse. And instead, I decided to buy the company. And that one single decision changed the way I saw money because that was the day that I stopped being a consumer and I started thinking like an owner. And the crazy thing is, that one mind shift for me created more wealth than years of just trying to save. And so that's what I want to share with you in this video. I want to help you to start to think like an investor, even if you're starting small, because ownership is going to do more for your future than luxury ever will. Now, a quick reminder, this is not financial advice. I'm just sharing what worked for me and how I learned how to flip my money mentally from spending to ownership. Everything I say is for educational purposes only. And if you want to hear more honest conversations about wealth and financial confidence, hit that like button and subscribe so you don't miss anything. We're serious about building a community where we can enter into prosperity and grow smarter, not just richer, but smarter. And we're getting our minds together along the way. Now, you know that we live in a world that's built to keep us consuming everything around you, like the ads that you see, everything, the trends you follow, the people you scroll online is designed to keep you chasing the next purchase. Okay. And it's wild when you really think about this because the more we buy, the more we feel like we're succeeding. But consumption does not create wealth. Ownership does. See, most people, they measure success by what they can show. Okay, I got a fancy car. I got all of this fancy stuff, fancy wancy, right? But the real wealth is really quiet. It's not on your wrist. It's not what you're driving to show everybody. It's not you getting on social media to show somebody your next name brand outfit. It's in your portfolio, it's in your assets. That's why so many people look rich and feel broke because they've mastered the image of success, but not the infrastructure of it. And trust me, I get it. I've been there. You want the nice stuff, the travel, the experiences, and there's nothing wrong with that. I still enjoy beautiful things. But the problem is when you start living the look instead of building the legacy. Because when you live like that, you're going to end up funding somebody else's dream, not yours. You're going to fund their businesses and you're going to put money in their pockets. Okay. You make companies richer while your future stays poor. And that was me until the day I looked at a Louis Vuitton purse and said, hold up. Why would I want to buy this bag when I can buy the business? I literally said that. And that's when things started to shift. So here's how it happened in detail. I was looking at the Louis Vuitton purse, beautiful bag, everything. I had been eyeing it for a little bit. I told myself, look, I deserve this. I got the money to even buy it. But it's a feeling. It's a feeling of like, I worked hard for this. I want to treat myself and all of that. That's a feeling that most people have. But right before I started to purchase it, something in me clicked. I don't know if it was previous seeds that had been watered and all of a sudden it brought and all of a sudden it came to the surface and started to, I guess, manifest into fruitfulness. I don't know. I thought, look, wait a minute. If I love this brand so much, why don't I become a part of it? And I just thought this is stupid because I got enough purses. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it's stupid to buy a purse or to buy nice things, but again, sometimes we're just consuming. We got too much of this stuff. So instead of spending a few thousands on a purse, I decided to look up. I didn't even know if they had shares. I'm being transparent. I didn't even know if Louis Vuitton had a business, but I was like, I need to invest in this because sometimes you will buy stuff, and I've done this before, and I'm like, man, I buy so much Amazon, I need to own the business. You know, you say these things in the back of your head because you're spending a lot of money with them, and you never think like, oh yeah, I really should do that. And so I did a search and I looked up Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. Okay. Now, don't take this the wrong way. I wasn't drinking Hennessy. Okay. I'm just saying that's the name of the business is LVMH. And this company owns Louis Vuitton, Dior, and several luxury brands. But again, it's called Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy, LVMH. Now, I did look at the Moet Hennessy. I was like, what is this? But yeah. So I said, okay, this company owns Louis Vuitton. I'm going to invest in it. And then that one decision changed everything because I started thinking a little differently. You know what I mean? Once I bought the stock, my relationship with money started to shift. I didn't just own the product, I owned the profits. So every time someone else bought that purse, or even if I did, part of that money was technically flowing back to me as an investor, right? And so that's when it hit me that we fund these companies every single day, but most people never think Let me own them. We wear the clothes, we use the phones, we eat the food, we drink the drinks, and then yet the companies are the ones getting richer off of our habits. So that's when I said to myself, look, I could keep buying the things I like, but I also need to be buying the companies behind them. So I started with LVMH and Apple. Apple was cheap back then, and I figured, hey, I use the phone every day. I'm using the MacBook. I'm using the iPad. I even started with what's it called? The iPod. So I think it's called an iPod or something. It had the little music on there, right? So that combination of luxury and technology was my foundation at the very beginning. Of course, I grew after that. You know what I mean? But when the investment started growing, I'm like, dang, I've been spending for years, but this is the first time my money is finally spending for me. See, wealth starts when your mindset flips from I like this to now I own this. You stop seeing yourself as a customer and you start seeing yourself as a shareholder. That's an identity shift. And shareholders don't chase trends, they profit from them. And so to me, I wasn't thinking like, oh, I got to stop enjoying life. I just needed to start prioritizing ownership before indulgence, right? So here's the thing, you don't have to be rich to start thinking like an owner. You just have to start paying attention to where your money goes. Every time you spend money, you're voting for a company's success. So why not own things that you already use? Think about it. You buy groceries, hey, that's Kroger, that's Walmart. You shop on Amazon, that's Amazon stock. You got an iPhone, AirPods, a MacBook, that's Apple. You wear Nike shoes, that's a publicly traded company. You watch Netflix, you scroll on Instagram, you drive a Tesla, you drink Starbucks. All of these brands are businesses that you can actually own. So the next time you want to think about a purchase, you need to pause and ask yourself, hey, do I want to own this? Or just rent the lifestyle that comes with it, because that's all you're doing. You're renting it for a moment, okay? And that moment go bad real quick, and your money go with it. But if you start buying the stock instead of just the stuff, then you stop living on the surface and you start building the structure. Now, I'm not saying you have to turn into an overnight masterful investor, but even starting small, like buying, $20, you can even buy a stock for $5. They got stock slices for $5. You can start with $5. Now, $5 ain't gonna make you rich. I'm not gonna sit here and even lie to you, but it's a starting place. And the whole point is to allow those wins to do something for your brain to start making you take different actions, right? That $5 added with another $5 and another $20 and another $100, along with compounding and appreciation, yeah, you'll be going somewhere real quick. But it starts with training your brain to see opportunity instead of temptation. It's a mindset shift from spending to sowing, right? Because every dollar you invest is a seed that can grow into freedom later. And that's the difference between the rich and the wealthy. Rich people do spend for attention, but wealthy people invest for expansion. If you didn't know that there's a difference, there is a difference. And the moment you start to see yourself as a builder, someone who's planning instead of consuming, you're going to realize wealth isn't just about having more money, it's about having more ownership, and it's about having more options. Okay. So it's time to enter into one of the biggest differences between wealthy people and everyday people. And it's not luck. I know you think, oh, wealthy people are just lucky. You was born with a silver spoon. You got a chance and all of this other stuff. I'm not saying that those aren't some cases out there, but I'm telling you, it's about perspective. Wealthy people don't just think about what something costs. They think about what it creates. Again, it's about options. They don't buy symbols, they buy systems. They don't just buy brands, they buy businesses. The average person says, I like that car. The wealthy person say, cool, how do I buy stock in that company? See, when you're a consumer, you think in moments. And like I told you, those moments gonna fly by you real quick. But when you're an owner, you think in movements. Consumers chase the next purchase and owners build the next generation. And that's really what this is about. It's about legacy. Legacy. When you start thinking like an owner, you stop chasing status and you start creating stability, because legacy needs stability. True wealth isn't about having what other people admire, it's about owning what other people depend on. And that's when money starts to feel differently, because you stop seeing it as something you spend and you start seeing it as something you steward. And we have not stewarded well over our money most of the time. So if you're in a spending frenzy, okay, you need to realize you're not here to prove anything. You're here to build something. And when you start living from that place, you stop playing small. All right. So, family, listen, if this shifted your perspective, even if it's a little bit, go ahead and please hit that like button for me. It helps the videos, it helps support the page, the algorithm, and all of that. So please just take a moment and hit that like button for me. And if you have not already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to continue to talk about wealth. It's going to be practical. We're going to deal with your mindset, but I'm throwing videos out all throughout the week. And I promise these conversations will keep stretching you to think bigger and move smarter, and it will increase your wealth IQ. Now, I want to hear from you in the comments. What's the one company or brand that you already use that you can start investing in right now today? Remember, I talked about those stock slices at $5. Maybe it's Apple, Nike, Amazon, or something else you believe in. Drop it below. I love hearing what you're paying attention to. And before you head out, the links are in the description. You're going to find our community link if you want to connect with people who are serious about building wealth the healthy way, plus some powerful educational programs and tools to help you grow your wealth IQ and become financially confident. And of course, our coaching link is down there to help you shift your mindset, master your money, and build real financial freedom. We go into the depths of what your portfolio should look like, and it is just amazing. Everybody is killing it and knocking it out the park. So go take a look at it. All right, that's all. That's all, family. Stay wise, stay grounded, and keep building wealth the healthy way. I'll see you in the next video.